So next, that was a very look at the really local destruction this is causing, and now we're going to take you way out, and Andy, also known as our tech guy over here, once is done setting it up, is going to talk about the international and climate change impacts that this tar sands development poses.
There we go. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Doing double duty here tonight. We're a light road crew, so I'm our tech guy. But my name is Andy Pearson, and I work with Minnesota 350 and with 350.org. I imagine a lot of us here tonight are pretty familiar with 350.org. I see so many Madison 350 t-shirts. Yes? Pretty much? Yeah, okay, almost all of us. Cool. So we know what the number means. It's 350 parts per million of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere that we have to get back down to. We know 350 is an organization, but it's also a movement. It's a movement of people who are wanting to bring us back to a stable climate future. And it's a mostly volunteer-driven movement. But I want to talk for just a minute about me. I come to this work as a young person. And as somebody who feels like I was born with a membership in a club that wasn't exclusive when I was born because everybody was in it. It was a club of people who got to experience what winter was like, here in the upper Midwest. Club of people who saw climate as something that was stable, something that you could imagine that, if I have kids, that they'd be growing up in the same kind of situation as myself. But kind of shortly after I was born, they really stopped handing out those memberships, And so little ones who are being born now, they are never going to be able to see a winter like what we all here grew up in. They're never going to be able to see that, and that makes me feel like the last of a kind in something, and that is sad to me. That is more of a burden than I want. I didn't sign up for that, and so my involvement in climate is for me personally, it's about making it so that I know that when I die, way off in the future, somebody is going to be able to have the same experiences that I had growing up. Probably won't be within my kids' lifetime, probably won't be within their kids' lifetime, but onwards we know we have to get there. So that's why I'm in it. We'll go over some real quick numbers. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the do the math numbers. It's late, I don't want to do very much math anyway, but this is very simple. First number is 2 degrees Celsius. This is the only number that the world's governments have ever all agreed on in regard to climate change. So it's a very important number. They've all said 2 degrees Celsius is too much. If we warm more than that, we're going to set off dangerous tipping points. We don't want to go there. The second number, 565 gigatons. It's a gigaton. It's a billion tons, so it's a very large number. That's how much carbon we can put into the atmosphere from today going forward, and have a pretty good chance of staying below that 2 degrees Celsius threshold. The third number, the largest number, the newest number, 2,795 gigatons. That is how much carbon the world's coal, oil, and natural gas companies have underground already identified that they plan to extract and burn. That doesn't even take into account the stuff that they're out looking for every day. So that's about 5 times more than what we know we can safely extract. And so when I think of opposing tar sands, which are the dirtiest fuel that we know of to extract right now, dirtiest fuel we know how to get at, and I think that there are folks who get up every day to make their money by, at the high levels of these companies where they do know this knowledge, deliberately changing the chemical composition of the atmosphere so that they're able to continue that business practice. I don't have any trouble opposing that. That doesn't seem like a nice thing to do to me, given what we know. All right. I want to talk real quick about the pipeline system that we're in. I sometimes will do this presentation and talk more about tar sands in general, but Crystal did such a nice job of it that I don't want to repeat her in that. So let's start from where she was up in Alberta, and let's bring it down to where we are here in Madison. So this is the Enbridge map. This is the Enbridge Tar Sands Resistance Tour. We're going to be talking a lot about Enbridge. The orange line there is the Enbridge mainline system. And that is the line that carries most of Enbridge's tar oil. And Enbridge, as we know, is a Canadian company based in Calgary, the largest transporter of liquid fuels in North America. So that's really the backbone of their system. It goes in a couple of phases. We probably know those. The first goes to Superior, Wisconsin. The second goes from Superior on down, very close to us here, and ends up in Flanagan, Illinois, which is right by Chicago. So the first half has a number of pipelines wide. They both have a number of pipelines wide. The first one, ending in Superior, has, among others, the Alberta Clipper pipeline and Line 3. And we'll hear more about the Alberta Clipper. I'm sure a lot of us know about it already. The second half has Line 61, which I hope everybody here knows about Line 61. And would have in the future Line 66, also has a few other pipelines, which Elizabeth will tell you more about. But I want to go back to the Alberta Clipper because it crosses Minnesota, where I'm from, and it's important to know about. I know we've talked about it some here, I'm not sure how much. But the Alberta Clipper is a pipeline that Enbridge is looking to expand right now to make it almost the size of Keystone XL, just about the same. And the Alberta Clipper pipeline is a pretty new pipeline. You know, it was built just before everybody started realizing what was going on with tar sands and fighting these pipelines like Keystone XL. It snuck in just under the wire. So the Alberta Clipper's in place, but Enbridge wants to expand it. And I like to think of opposing pipelines like, you know, if you're outside playing with like garden hose in the summer, try to put your thumb over the end, and it's really hard to do it. It's a lot easier if you can shut it off with a tap. So that's why we talk about stopping tar sands at the source and stopping it upstream as well as downstream, because we know all these fights are valuable and getting us there. So for the Alberta Clipper, if we can stop it from getting into the U.S., there's much less incentive to need to expand down here. And the key thing to know is that the Alberta Clipper will also be on President Obama's desk for a final decision. And that's the thing that makes it different from any of the other pipeline fights right now, right? Except for Keystone XL. And we know where Keystone XL is now. We know that's been delayed for like 6 years at this point. The Senate Bill number 1, right? One of the largest issues in the U.S., which is really weird, actually, given that it's one pipeline, it's only 36 inches wide. It shouldn't be that big of a deal to say no to, but it is. So Alberta Clipper is the next pipeline that has that same decision-making structure around it, and that's why we've got to be saying no to that too, and letting Obama know that a no on Keystone means you have to be voting no on the Alberta Clipper as well, making that decision against granting it a presidential permit. So this is it. This is the big picture. When we talked about carbon impacts, to kind of wrap it back from that do the math numbers to on the ground, I said tar sands is about 30% more energy intensive over its entire life cycle than the other forms of liquid fuels we know. It's about 2 to 4 times more energy intensive to get it out of the ground. And it uses 2 to 4 barrels of water for every barrel of oil that you get out. So this is something that if we have a choice about what fuels we're using, we know we have to be getting off of fossil fuels, and even among the fuels that are out there, this is pretty bad stuff that we know we need to be moving away from quickly, and definitely not building any more infrastructure for. So with that, thank you, and I'm going to leave it up to Chris and Michelle to talk about local impacts in California.